Today I have a very special guest, one of the other historical figures here at American History Live, a soldier, lawyer, Treasury Secretary, patriot. Welcome, Alexander Hamilton. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Miss Adams. Thank you for having me with you today.
Today, Mr. Hamilton will be sharing his experiences at the Constitutional Convention in 1778. But first, can you share a little bit about your life leading up to the Constitutional Convention?
Oh, I would be happy to. I was born in 1755, but not in one of the 13 American colonies. I was actually born on the island of Nevis. I moved to New York in 1773 to attend college, and it was there I quickly adopted the ideals of American patriots, those that supported the American independence movement. I joined the New York Regiment, which joined the rest of the Continental Army. I became an aide to George Washington during the Revolutionary War and was very proud of my service to my new country because the freedom was worth fighting for. After the war, I became a lawyer and helped form the Bank of New York, but I eventually saw weaknesses in the American government while doing so.
Absolutely. America's original government was formed under the Articles of Confederation during the American Revolution. It created a united government, but a loose confederation of states, lacking both an executive and judicial branch. The Articles of Confederation created a national government reliant on the voluntary participation of the states, and the only enforcement of law being conducted by the states. The national government could not tax and could not adequately resolve conflict between states.
The Articles of Confederation made America weak, and I wanted to help create a stronger national government that could make America a powerful economic and political force.
How did you accomplish this?
Well, a group of us decided that change was necessary for the survival of this new republic. And so, in 1787, there was a call for a federal convention of the states to make changes to the Articles of Confederation. And this eventually became known as the Constitutional Convention. And it was held from May 1787 to September 1787. We met in Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was there as a delegate for the state of New York.
My husband John felt the same way as Mr. Hamilton, that our government under the Articles of Confederation was not working. But John and I were representing America in Great Britain in 1787. John did support the writers of the Constitution and was in contact with delegates through letters. But did all of the states agree to meet to change the Articles of Confederation, Mr. Hamilton?
No, they did not. Rhode Island actually sent no one. And some of my fellow founding fathers had serious concerns that the articles were not going to be saved, but replaced. And those concerned were honestly right. There were just too many flaws for the national government to sustain itself under the Articles of Confederation. And we needed a new written constitution.
Or why was a written constitution so important to delegates?
A written constitution created an organization of government and a way to protect the individual rights. We, the other founding fathers and I, wanted to create defined rules for government. The Constitution created the structure of our government and established how rules would be made and enforced in a way that the Articles couldn't. A strong central government would provide us with stability and security for our new fledgling nation.
Was it an easy process to agree to a new constitution?
Well, just like before, no. When the convention started, we didn't know what would happen. But James Madison from Virginia had an idea he called the Virginia Plan. The Virginia Plan proposed a strong national government with three distinct branches: a legislative branch to make laws, an executive branch to enforce the laws, and a judicial branch to interpret the laws.
The question became, how would each branch of the government function, particularly the legislative branch, where the laws themselves would be constructed?
And Mr. Madison had a plan for the legislative branch. There would be 2 chambers to create laws, and the number of representatives for each state would be determined by population. The more people a state had, the more representatives they would have.
This made sense because Virginia at the time had the most people of any state. Under the Articles of Confederation, all states, regardless of their population, received 1 vote in all matters. Mr. Hamilton, what was the response of the smaller states?
Well, someone named William Patterson presented the New Jersey plan. New Jersey did not like some of Mr. Madison's ideas. Patterson's plan proposed a single legislature in which every state would have an equal number of representatives.
Of course, this was just a continuation of the Articles of Confederation structure and would not secure the support of larger states like Virginia or my home state of Massachusetts or even New York. Thereby, a compromise had to be reached.
Connecticut delegates Oliver Ellsworth and Roger Sherman proposed that compromise. They included elements from both the Virginia and the New Jersey plans. And the legislative branch would include a Senate with equal representation for each state, and a House of Representatives, where states would be given representation based on population. And what would be known as the Great Compromise had been reached.
The executive branch was also a concern because the delegates wanted to ensure that the head of the executive branch, which would become the president, represented all states and did not become an all-powerful king. Mr. Hamilton, what did delegates create to try and ensure that all states had a say in who was the president?
The Electoral College is what you're looking for. The Electoral College was chosen as the way a president would be selected, because then each state would have electors who could select a presidential candidate of their choosing. The amount of electors would be determined by the amount of both representatives and senators a state had. And so no state would have less than 3 electoral votes, but larger states would receive more votes.
And finally, a judicial branch was created. Although vague in construction, the branch was not only a check of the power of the other branches, but a way to resolve disputes between the states. This would fix many of the problems of the Articles of Confederation.
Yes, it fixed a lot of problems with it, but the Constitution isn't perfect. But it's a structure of government that we as delegates felt would best establish a strong and cohesive government. I actually wrote 51 Federalist Papers to defend the Constitution and to promote its immediate ratification.
My husband, John Adams, also supported the ratification of the Constitution in his Defense of the Constitutions of Government of the United States of America. Although he agreed with those calling for an immediate add of the Bill of Rights to the Constitution through amendments, which was the first order of business for the new Congress of the United States that was elected. Both John and Mr. Hamilton would serve in the first executive branch of government. My husband John as the very first vice president. Mr. Hamilton, how did you serve in President Washington's cabinet?
I was the very first Secretary of Treasury. I wanted to ensure that the new national government would create a stable currency and collect taxes consistently and timely. Our new nation required a robust and growing economy to ensure its viability for the future. And I'm very proud of my work in ensuring that America would not only survive, but thrive politically and economically.
thank you, Mr. Hamilton, for your work in creating America.